You know, before Kaizen, we didn't really look at turnaround times in our lab the way we do now. We always knew that we had to get everything right. You know, you can't make a mistake in a crime lab. And we were very good at that, and we were very good at testifying in court. But we had never really looked at how fast we could do evidence, how fast we could process the evidence coming in, particularly in the area of forensic biology and DNA.
Some of the challenges that we faced were slow turnaround times. So we had a lot of cases to work, not a lot of people to work them, and it took a while. One of the process issues that we had was that we had basically 1 or 2 people working on a case at a time. So if one of those people had to be out, for example, for vacation or court or any leave or anything like that, the case didn't get done, the case didn't get worked. It was a slow process, and there were a lot of things that could have been improved upon.
And so we started looking at it from a public safety point of view of saying every day that we're not testing evidence, particularly DNA evidence, there's a bad guy on the street, perhaps committing more crimes. And so we began to look at it from a public safety point of view like we had not before, and then the Kaizen completely changed all of that.
You know, our slow turnaround time and getting them results back, that impeded their investigations, essentially. So, you know, they're investigating a case, and we don't get them results back for 4 months. That doesn't really help their case. You know, it takes a while. So getting a suspect off the streets, for example, in, you know, a pretty dangerous situation, us not getting them results back impeded their investigations, and basically was an issue for them. I think that the Kaizen team identified the overall process and how slow it was. It was a decent process, but we had a lot of things that we could cut out along the way, and we went more towards a teamwork approach. One of the processes that we actually identified during Kaizen, we have robots. We have TCAN robots, and they can do the job of a scientist much quicker than a scientist can do it. I would take 24 samples through that entire process, and it would take me several days. The robot can take 78 samples through the process, and it takes the robot a day. So that is obviously a time efficiency improvement, but it's new technology. When evidence comes in, the biologist picks the case. For example, it's a rape kit. They take the rape kit, they catalog it, they figure out everything that's in it, and then they have access to the best samples at that point. One of the things that we used to do was the biologist would retain the item, put the swab in an envelope. I would have to go in as the DNA person, get the swab, take some notes on it, cut the swab, put it in a tube. One of the things that we identified during Kaizen was that the biologist has that swab out and available to them right then. They can cut it and put it in a tube, and it's ready for the rest of the process. So that it eliminates me having to take more notes, me having to do extra steps. I just pull the tube and it's ready to go through the rest of the DNA process. We identified a need for technicians. Everybody here at BCI are forensic scientists. Technicians are people that we identified as being able to do things like make reagents. The scientists were taking time away from the bench and away from casework to make reagents. We identified, you know, the need for somebody that could do that job specifically so that the scientists could focus on their casework. The other thing was, when I was a scientist, I did a lot of paperwork. So I was constantly filing things, moving papers around, copying, mailing, all that stuff. We identified office assistants that could help us with that process so that, again, I can go back to running stuff through the lab or interpreting the DNA at my desk. So everybody knows that nobody likes change. And the staff at the time had been used to working a case from start to finish. They took ownership of that case from the beginning when they opened that case pocket to the end when the report went out. So it was a challenge to get people to buy into the teamwork approach. Lean Ohio's favorite thing to say is you can't just throw money at a bad process. You have to improve the process, and then you can bring some money into it. So we did end up hiring several new people, a lot of new people. We almost doubled our staff at one point based on the need you know, the need for cases to get done and the fact that we could identify roles where people could fill. All of these new people, that's all they know is this new process. So we improve the process first, and then we hire these new people and say, here's the process. And they, of course, they buy into it. They know it. You know, that's what they do. That's their everyday. Kaizen taught us how to process improve. So we have constantly redone our process over the years, and we constantly are looking at where do we need to move people and where do we need to move resources to get stuff done faster and more efficiently. There are cases that we can turn around in 24 hours. You know, when we have a rapist on the street who, you know, rapes a 13-year-old at a bus stop, for example, we bring that in, turn it around, we get DNA results in 24 hours, give them a name of somebody that they should go arrest. But to see the teamwork that goes into that, and to see people so willing to step up and to help and to do it, I mean, I can't say enough about the staff that works here. People are they really want to do a good job, and they want to do it in the time frame that we've said, you know, here's what you've got to do.
Well, it goes back to that public safety issue, you know, again, that we hadn't really looked at previously, but as we started to focus on every day that we're not testing this or not writing that report, that bad guys on the street, it makes us feel very good to know that we've sped that process up.